Right now at noon, the man accused of shooting two Portland police officers last week makes his first court appearance in court. And a shakeup in the Trump administration's approach to immigration enforcement in Minneapolis, including a controversial figure now stepping back. Plus, Portland police discovered the body of a 104-year-old woman in a refrigerator, why they say her son may be responsible. And later, a new study shows that while the number of shelter beds in Oregon may be going up, so is the number of people who rely on them. Your News at Noon starts now. Our top story here at noon, the man accused of shooting two Portland police officers in Northeast Portland last week made his first appearance in court. Thanks so much for joining us here at noon. I'm Stephanie Domerat. 41-year-old Eric Floyd Elkers faces attempted murder charges in connection with the shooting. He was arrested yesterday along Northeast 82nd Avenue, not far from the airport. New court documents reveal how police tracked down Elkers. A tip led them to him, and Elkers' DNA was found at the shooting scene. The shooting left one officer with a broken femur and the other lost a portion of his ear. Both are now out of the hospital. Our Evan Watson will have more on Elkers' first court appearance this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Police have taped off a Southeast Portland motel room after reports of an early morning stabbing. Officers say the victim has been rushed to the hospital for surgery. Our Libby Dowsett is live at the Montevilla Motel with the latest on this. Libby, what are you learning right now?
Still red crime. Red tape up the room, they believe. Well, the crime tape around the motel is missing, but the red tape around the room right there is still there with a police vehicle. They believe that's where the stabbing happened this morning, and they say there's been an update that the victim is at the hospital with life-threatening injuries. We first reported this morning that police believe the stabbing happened here at the Montevilla Motel at Southeast 99th and Pine. Police say they are working to identify and locate a suspect in this case. An officer on scene this morning said paramedics rushed the victim to the hospital for surgery. The officer said someone called 911 saying they found the man sitting along 99th Avenue injured just down from the motel. Officers taped off the entire motel and its office as detectives arrived. A woman staying at the motel said she heard yelling this morning that someone was bleeding out. At this point, the motel parking lot is open. As you can see, the office is open as we're awaiting those further details from detectives. Back to you.
All right, Libby reporting for us in Southeast Portland. Thank you so much. The Trump administration appears to be making changes to how it approaches immigration enforcement in Minneapolis following the fatal shooting of ICU nurse Alex Preddy by a Border Patrol agent. A source tells NBC News that a number of federal agents, including controversial Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, could be leaving the city as soon as next week. NBC's Morgan Chesky has more.
Yeah, after weeks of a bitter back and forth, we are starting to see early signs of a dramatic shift in tone, as well as potentially federal presence here in Minneapolis itself. Mayor Jacob Frey saying that he had a conversation with President Trump, and after weeks of disagreement, those two men came to the same conclusion. The situation on the ground here in Minneapolis cannot continue as is, and that's why today we're anticipating some somewhat stunning changes here. First off, the departure of Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino, who's become a highly polarizing figure, particularly since the death of Alex Preddy. His departure is signaling the arrival of border czar Tom Homan. The president saying that Homan will be reporting to him directly as he takes over all of ICE operations here in the city of Minneapolis. Not only that, but a federal official tells NBC News that an unknown number of federal agents should be departing Minneapolis as early as today, although we don't know the exact number or when that will be taking place. In the meantime, as a memorial for Alex Preddy only grows, the investigation into his death deepens. A judge's order is remaining in place prohibiting the Trump administration from altering or destroying any evidence that could later be used and looked at by state investigators who allege that they were blocked off from the very crime scene when Preddy's life was taken. Morgan Chesky, NBC News, Minneapolis.
Meanwhile, Democratic senators on Capitol Hill say they will force a partial government shutdown if immigration agents aren't given new guardrails. The Homeland Security funding is part of a larger bipartisan package. In order to pass, 60 senators need to be on board. Several senators in Oregon and Washington have pledged to not fund DHS or ICE.
What happened in Minneapolis shows once again Donald Trump's agents are out of control. The Senate must not continue to vote for this any longer.
Senator Patty Murray wrote on social media that she will not support the DHS bill as it stands, saying it, quote, needs to be split off from the larger funding package before the Senate. Republicans must work with us to do that. Last week, the House approved the package, including DHS funding. And Washington's governor says his administration is ready to protect residents if ICE launches a mass enforcement effort in the state. Governor Bob Ferguson and AG Nick Brown sent a joint letter to the Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, warning that Washington will hold the federal government and agents accountable for any unconstitutional actions. He's also backing a Senate bill restricting law enforcement from wearing face coverings.
So I think it's an extremely important piece of legislation, and these ICE agents, at least have the guts to show your face if you're going to be violating people's rights. They lack those guts.
Governor Ferguson also announced several organizational changes to his administration to better coordinate response to any ICE activity. We are also learning that an unspecified number of ICE agents will be sent to the Winter Olympics in Italy. The Department of Homeland Security says the agents will only be there in a security capacity and will not enforce U.S. immigration laws since they will be in another country. Current and former Italian lawmakers are urging the prime minister to block the agents from coming to the country, pointing to the two recent fatal shootings in Minneapolis. DHS claims in both instances that agents were acting in self-defense. Switching gears now, let's get to your weather. I think we're going to get a live look at Seaside here in a minute, Chris. Maybe.
Seaside?
Okay.
How about we just look at...
Okay, well, let's just talk about the weather.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you as well,
you.
Miss Stephanie. So we've got some changing weather coming our way, as in a change from the frosty cold mornings that we've been having for the last, did I just say having for the last 10 mornings or so, to what's coming ahead, which is a legitimate chance of rain. Not just a trace of rain, but measurable rain, which would be the first in 15 days in the middle of January. That's remarkable. Okay, satellite imagery showing cloud cover building in and some rain offshore that will be working its way our way later today. Not right now, but later today. We've gone mostly cloudy right now from the Springs to the waterfront, 43 degrees now in Vancouver. Salem showing that increasing cloud cover over the state capital as well. At last check, it's 40 degrees there. So it's still chilly after a chilly morning, and 44 last check at PDX. All right, the plan for today, I've got us dry through 5 o'clock. Now, western Washington, Yamhill, Polk counties, you may start to see some rain moving in right around 5, but I think it's after that we get wet here in the metro area. So light rain between 5 and 8. It's dry right now, but as we can see on Futurecast, again, the rain begins walking into the area by sometime between about 4 and 7 o'clock. So that's our first round of meaningful, measurable rainfall in more than 2 weeks. We'll walk you through that in our 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
Well, our next story takes us to Northeast Portland, where the remains of a man's deceased mother were found in his refrigerator. Investigators say the remains had been there at least a couple days. Catherine Cook has the reason police say he did it.
It's definitely shocking. I mean, yeah.
Madeline Bacon just learned what brought police and the coroner to her apartment building near Northeast 28th and Halsey last week.
It's unsettling for sure.
According to court documents, Portland police found the body of a 104-year-old woman in a refrigerator inside Richard Vineyard's apartment, noting the woman was his mother. Court documents say she'd passed away January 19th and that Vineyard told police he'd planned to keep her in the refrigerator to conceal her death as long as possible. He told police he wanted to collect both his and her Social Security payments to avoid being homeless.
Definitely just really makes you think about like the state of the world and what everybody's going through, that people are that desperate, you know, and that was the best option, you know, that was maybe the only option in order to have a place to live or something, you know.
Court documents say police learned about the alleged scheme from Vineyard's brother, who reported it triggering a welfare check.
And that was our Catherine Cook reporting for us. Now to Cowlitz County, where a deputy coroner is expected to make a full recovery after she was hit by a car on a highway while on the job. Justine Enriquez was investigating a fatal car crash Saturday morning when another vehicle crashed into her, breaking her leg. That driver was arrested for driving drunk and has been identified as 43-year-old Michael Sturgill. We spoke with a coroner from Cowlitz County.
Just knowing what I know about the scene and being on scenes, there should have been multiple fatalities. I can only say thank you, God, for watching over everybody on the scene that day.
Enriquez broke her femur and had surgery over the weekend. Sturgill is now charged with vehicular assault.